Hello and welcome to the benefits and the power of hypnotherapy. My name's Dr. Amanda Horton and I'm the founder of Bayside Healthy Living, where our mission is to empower people to be the best version of themselves. And let's face it, we all want that, don't we? Over thousands and thousands of client sessions across many, many years, I've come to realise that even when we know what we want, there are often blocks beneath the surface that get in the way of who we want to be and how we want to move forward into the future. And perhaps you won't be surprised to know that most of these blocks were from the past, and many of them we're not even consciously aware of. So I've got the techniques, I've got the expertise to assist you to let go of past trauma, past fears and anxiety, past addictions, habits, self-doubt, low self-esteem, things that are getting in the way of who you want to be and how you want to be in a healthier and happier version of yourself. It's hard to believe, but I've got over 25 years of expertise in counselling, in cancer and palliative care nursing, in cancer behavioural research, and I've supported people across all ages and stages of their life. And this has really led me to be truly fascinated by the power each of us hold in our mind. How when we change our mindset, when we can release old trauma and negative thought viruses that bring us down and weigh us down and act like barriers to achieving our full potential, when we can do that with help and tailored programs like I'm going to tell you a little bit about, then we really are liberated and feeling free to be our best, happiest and calmest version of ourselves. So just by listening to this track, you're going to gain some valuable information about the 50 questions I get asked every month about what is hypnotherapy and how it can actually assist you to do this. And together we're going to dispel some of those myths that are associated with hypnosis. My intention is to give you the information you need to make up your own mind about what you're ready to change and how this may help you be your best version of yourself. And I'll also share with you why hypnosis is incredibly powerful at getting permanent results for things such as stress release, eliminating phobias, fears, anxiety, PTSD, breaking habits and addictions, inability to sleep, old defaults such as self-loathing, low worth, low confidence, and self-esteem, as well as for some people looking for the more intimate and sexual concerns that have been holding you back in relationships with yourself and with connecting to others. All of us know that there are people who have stopped smoking, who have gone off the booze, who have lost weight, who have taken control of drugs, who have made dramatic life changes and then gone back to those vices and strategies when the pressure's on. And I'm not interested in anything other than permanent change. Permanent change is what all of us want. What makes my practice so unique? Well, that's a pretty good question, because what makes my practice so unique is that I use a combination of counselling, cognitive behavioural therapy, mindfulness, hypnosis, and the newer version of neuro-linguistic programming, neuroscience, and a lot of evidence around that to support the therapies that I implement each and every day. And I'm totally obsessed with the latest and the greatest in neuroplasticity, which takes your potential to an even greater level of effectiveness. So, let me answer the frequently asked questions about hypnosis. Let's begin first by explaining what hypnotherapy and hypnosis is. Hypnotherapy is a profession, and I trained at the only government-accredited training academy in Australia, which made sure that I met the minimum training requirements to be issued with provider numbers. Despite what they tell us in the movies, I don't have spirally eyes. I don't swing a fob watch unless you really want me to. I'm passionate about linking the latest and the greatest in neuroscience and research about everything that I do in my practice. So hypnosis leads the way for breaking habits and addictions, for lowering the perception of pain, for calming the mind, for building confidence and self-esteem. Hypnosis leads the way in eliminating phobias, leads the way in taking control over fear and anxiety, naturally and efficiently. Hypnosis also leads the way in sharpening your focus, clearing your mind, enhancing your memory recall, and leads the way in building body confidence and self-esteem from the inside out, and so many, many things more than that as well. So, how come our profession leads the way in these fields, you might ask? Well, let's explain. Why are we leading the way in these change fields? Well, first of all, let's just talk about the mind. Let's explore the different functions of the mind. Now, you have heard, I'm sure, people say from time to time, "Oh, that stuff's all in your mind." Haven't you? Well, next time somebody says that to you, it's all in your mind. Simply smile to them and say thank you. Because, let's face it, if it wasn't in your mind, where else would it be? Now, you may have heard certain people describe the mind in different ways. Some people might call it the conscious mind or the reactive mind. Some people will then turn around and talk about a subconscious mind or an unconscious mind, or even an autonomic nervous system. And others will say, yes, but there's also the higher conscious mind, or the collective consciousness, or the universal consciousness. And that's all very fine, but let's keep it straightforward here. And let's just refer to the mind as conscious and unconscious mind. Now then, psychologists and behavioural researchers and neuroscientists tell us that in any given moment, we're being bombarded by 2 million bits of information per second. It's incredible, isn't it? Coming into our awareness, 2 million bits of information per second. They also tell us that our conscious mind can only handle 7 plus or minus 2 chunks of those 2 million bits at any time. So, to make it easy, what I'm going to say is that your conscious mind is everything that you're aware of right now. For example, hopefully you're aware of the sound of my voice coming through the speaker right now. So everything that you're aware of is in your conscious mind. It's the logical, it's the strategic, it's the planning, it's the rational part of you that's processing and making sense of all that I'm saying right now. Everything you're not aware of is your unconscious mind. Now then, who just made you blink right then? And you did blink, didn't you? And who beats your heart? And who breathes for you? And who digests your food? So metaphorically speaking, look at your unconscious mind as the automatic pilot. Your unconscious mind runs your life for you. It's been building habits, strategies and mindsets for you ever since you were born. A really important concept is that all we're learning, all behaviour, all change in fact, is unconscious. Now that's not to say that you didn't have any conscious volition in the first place. But once you've learned, you've then relegated the learning, the behaviour, the change to the subconscious or the unconscious mind. You see, everything you do is an unconscious habit. It's an unconscious strategy, habit, default or mindset. So just think about that. Everything that you do is an unconscious habit. The way you get out of bed, the way you brush your teeth, the way you put on your shoes, the way you dress yourself. And what about your breathing? You're not even consciously thinking about your breathing right now. Until I just mentioned it. You're not saying to yourself, oh no, that was too long, that was too shallow, that was too short, a little bit faster, a little bit slower. You're not actually consciously thinking about the breathing until I just mentioned it right now. Breathing just happened. And you know that your autonomic nervous system is actually run by your unconscious mind. It breathes for you. It pumps your blood. It makes you blink. And it takes care of all of those autonomic functions for you. And you know what? Think about the very first time that you may have learned to drive a car, if you've done that. Could you have been changing gears and winding windows and sipping water and commanding Bluetooth all at the same time when you first started driving? It was pretty difficult, wasn't it? See, that's overloading the little small conscious mind already. Remember, the conscious mind can handle 7 plus or minus 2 chunks of information at any conscious and given time. Now, the conscious mind downloaded all of that information into the powerful unconscious mind to handle all of those things. And all of those things have become automatic, habitual behaviour as you drive from place to place, usually focusing on things other than the technique of driving. So you can see that once you learn something, once you practice it, you relegate it to the unconscious mind. And then you get on automatic pilot. I mean, how often, if you do drive a car, how often do you drift off and somebody beeps you at the intersection or beeps you at the traffic lights and you don't know where you were? You've zoned out. So what hypnosis does then is quite simple. Instead of having to practice to acquire a new habit, strategy or mind default, or practicing to get rid of an old unwanted habit, hypnosis enables you to communicate directly with the unconscious mind and cut out all of that practice stage. So you see, when the conscious mind does something 3, 4, 5, 6 times or so, the unconscious mind says, hey, oh, I've got that now. I'll do that job for you. So it takes it on board as a new habit, as a new mind program, as a new default and automatic strategy. Some of those habits are useful, like learning how to ride a bike or a car. But you guessed it, and that's probably why you're listening to this. Some of the habits and the mind strategies are not useful, such as sleep issues, panic attacks, being anxious about being anxious, fears and unconscious phobias, overeating habits, craving sugar habits, reliant on alcohol or illicit drug habits, or beating yourself up, self-sabotage strategies about poor body image, low self-esteem, just to name a few. So you've probably tried to change those unhealthy habits and mind defaults with the conscious willpower section of your brain. But how hard was that? You see, the reality is that we're hardwired to actually protect those old habits that you formed in the body. Otherwise, a person could forget, for instance, how to swim or drive a car. Imagine that. You're in the midst of a beautiful swimming pool and all of a sudden you've forgotten how to move your arms and your legs. Or you're in the middle of driving and you go around some bend and you just think, oh no, what's happened? So that kind of explains the inner conflict between your conscious and your unconscious mind. So whenever you try to change a habit or upgrade to a new strategy, any of those new habits that you're particularly looking for, the simple fact of life is that as humans, we are creatures of habit, wired and firing the one way. And if we have a method of controlling habits in a quick, easy, relaxing, fun, effortless way, then we regain control over our lives. And when hypnosis is done correctly, that's exactly what the method is. So where do habits come from? Well, we're carrying around habits that were ingrained into our inner child. Remember those old messages we were told as kids? Some of them might be like, finish everything on your plate. You've got to duck and weave when it comes to angry or loud or scary people. Once you finish your mains, you can have something sweet. Or use the night before to cram for an exam or an assignment. You can get more out of life if you cut back on sleep. I mean, do any of those old programs and old habits sound familiar? And if they do, how are they working for you? The more you tell yourself, I will not eat that chocolate, I will not eat that Tim Tam, I will not sleep well tonight. I will not get anxious about being anxious. I will not find myself finishing that packet of chips. The more you tell yourself about finishing that packet of non-essential food, the more you tell yourself about getting stressed because you're not sleeping, fearing social anxiety, because you worry about stuffing things up or being judged as not smart, not thin, not fit, not good enough. Metaphorically, when you're telling yourself and sabotaging and self-abusing yourself with words, metaphorically, that's like speaking to the tip of the iceberg. The unconscious mind is more like the iceberg beneath the surface. It's so much stronger, it's so much larger and more powerful than the conscious mind, the tip of the iceberg. There's many neuroscientists who say that when you have a conscious willpower against the imagination always wins. That's right. When you're focusing on not eating that block of chocolate, when you're focusing on not having a bad night's sleep, when you're focusing on not stuffing something up socially, when you're focusing on having an alcohol-free night, what you're really imagining is smoking more, drinking more, eating more, having a disturbed night's sleep. And that's why it's hard for you to just use the conscious and logical mind. So the reason hypnosis is so powerful for changing those unconscious beliefs and behaviours is because we don't have to consciously try over and over again to think in a certain way, or to feel a certain way, or to behave in a certain way. Hypnosis makes it instantaneous. It makes it automatic. It makes it easy and effortless, especially if the therapist that you work with tailors the program and works with you, works on your why factor, what's in it for you to make this change. And then the subconscious mind will always find a how. And when the therapist works with you to eliminate and to discard the old blocks that have been getting in your way, it's like creating new, cleaner, clearer neurological pathways that will allow you to achieve your goals. So, hypnosis is efficient, it's fun, it's relaxing. But hypnosis is not sleep. It's not a state of unconsciousness. Hypnosis is simply a state of relaxation. In fact, there's another definition called guided daydreaming. So don't expect to feel hypnotized. Just expect to feel relaxed. Most clients leave the sessions going, that's weird, it's good weird, but I just feel so light and so clear in my head. See, people will drift in and out of various stages of hypnosis all day long. We're often absorbed and focused in movies, in things that we're listening to or reading. You know, sometimes people say, what does it feel to be hypnotized? Well, the reality is you don't feel any different to anything else other than being relaxed, sitting in a boring meeting or lecture, and your mind's drifted off, and somebody calls your name and you think, oh, where was I? And another question people often ask me is, can I be hypnotized? Well, the answer is that if you have a why factor, if you are really sure about why you want to make a change, even if you don't know how, but if you know your why, then your subconscious mind and the therapist can work with you to achieve your goals. Giving you permission there right now to imagine that you're just sitting in a meeting or a boring class and somebody calls your name and jolts you back into the discussion. That's about as relaxed and zoned out as you may feel. Having said that, 25 to 30% of the population go into a really deep state of trance. But quite frankly, it doesn't matter if you go into a light state of deep trance or a deep state of light trance. See, we call this state of hypnosis the alpha brainwave state, and it's just a light to medium hypnosis. It's really familiar, and you'll start to notice when you're doing that, even walking the dog or in the shower. Sometimes when those moments in life we get absorbed and focused and we lose track of time. That's pretty much the alpha brainwave state that we use for hypnosis. Another myth is that you have to be weak-minded to be hypnotized. It's absolutely no, it's in contrast to that. Hypnosis is about following instructions. If you can't follow instructions, you can't be hypnotised. That's the reality. So if you have a good high IQ, sufficient enough to be able to follow instructions, the answer is yes, you're home and hosed. There won't be any problems for you. If you know your why, if you have good trust and rapport and respect with the hypnotherapist, they will help you clear the old blockages and establish your how. So perhaps the biggest misconception is that you'll actually lose control. No, the actual truth is that you are totally in control. Hypnosis is the ultimate control. See, if I got asked every day the same question, it's pretty much, can you make me cluck like a chicken or quack like a duck? Now the answer is I could if you wanted me to, but because it wouldn't add any benefit to the therapeutic intervention, you just wouldn't do it. You'd refuse to do it. It's the same as if I said go rob a bank like they do in the movies. You wouldn't. There's a point in this that I'm trying to make. There's a deepest part of your unconscious mind that holds all of your values, your ethics, your morals, your belief systems. And if there was ever anything that I said to you that you disagreed with, it would be filtered out by those filters that are in the deepest recesses of your subconscious mind. Which is the reason why we tailor our programs so carefully to identify what it is that you want to make change with, to listen to the blocks that may be there, and to win rapport and approval and respect of your subconscious mind so that we can work together to help you achieve and maintain a high level of success. So as long as you know your why, your subconscious mind will always find your how. And it's so relaxing and so liberating to make those changes. Okay, so now let's briefly summarize. Now that we know that hypnosis is safe, now that we know that you'll always be in control, and now that you know that hypnosis works, we know that with hypnosis, change will be easy, relaxing, and effortless. We also know that hypnosis will work for you when you know your why and when you have a good rapport with the therapist who will assist you and your unconscious mind to clear the blocks and to program in the new, healthy, happy mind changes that you're searching for. So if you'd like me to ask any more individualised questions, please feel free to give me a call on 0404 913 662. But if you're listening to this just before your session, I'm so proud to work with you, can't wait to meet you and to assist you to achieve your changes in the easiest and the most efficient way. Look forward to seeing you, look forward to speaking to you. Thanks for listening. This is Dr. Amanda Horton from Bayside Healthy Living.